Oh, hi, Jenny.
Hi, Joe. I'm in my hotel room in a conference in New York and my iPad is not working. I have a presentation tomorrow. You have to help me.
Your iPad is not working? What happened?
Well, let's just say I got it a little wet.
You mean you dropped it in the bath again?
Yes.
I see. Well, okay, let me see what I can do and I'll call you back.
Hello everybody, and thank you for joining us today at SITS monthly webinar. Joe and myself just got back from London from attending SITS14, which was a blast.
A blast, definitely.
We had a few challenges. There was a tube strike, 48 hours tube strike in London.
Yeah, but we got over it, you know.
So we just got back from London. We had a really good time. Joe and myself went to SITS14 as we had a speaking engagement. We talked about adjusting your service desk to BYOD. BYOD, just that we will be on the same page, is bring your own device to work and not bring your own
drinks,
like some people think, but BYOD is bring your own device to work. So today Joe and myself are here to talk to you about this issue. So before we will begin, if you have any questions, you know how it goes, there is that chat. And if you want to talk to us on Twitter, as Joe and myself are really big people of Twitter, we really love it.
Definitely.
So you can ask us question at JoeDIT, at CSAID, #webinar. And Joe and myself, either of us will be happy to answer any question that you have.
Yeah.
So let's start with BYOD.
Let's go.
So adjusting your service desk to BYOD. When Joe and myself started preparing to this presentation, we Googled it, as we thought that BYOD needed some introduction. So other people that we talked to that are not Joe actually knew what BYOD was all about. And most of us told us that there is no need of any explanation to understand the working reality. I would give you an example, because if some of you don't know exactly what we are talking about, so how many of you already heard the question today, how can I connect my phone to the Wi-Fi? What is the username and what is the password?
About a gazillion times, I'll bet you.
I guess so. Before we are nodding our head and saying, no BYOD in our organization, BYOD is already here.
Definitely.
BYOD is already a working reality. Most of you are already supporting a dedicated app, and most of you are already have got a lot of service requests connected with BYOD issues.
Yeah, no, most of you have people that drop their iPads in the bath, I'm sure. Yeah.
Joe?
Just helping you make your point, you know?
Thank you, but I think that I will perhaps define it a little bit differently. BYOD was introduced to the industry 5 years ago. It was a trend. People went to trade shows like SITS just to hear a little bit about trends and where everything is going. But today, when we went to SITS a week ago, BYOD is not a trend anymore. And it's not a buzz. BYOD is already a working reality. A lot of people are already addressing it. And what we think that today, BYOD is already a situation where the IT needs to start facing and addressing. So we thought we would start the presentation in a different place, and we would start talking about a few interesting facts about BYOD. BYOD will not save you money. A lot of organizations thought when BYOD was introduced to the industry that BYOD is going to save them money. The users are going to bring their own devices, use it for working purposes. That sounds like a dream.
Yeah.
But actually, it's not going to save you money. BYOD is cost-effective to the organization, and not from the obvious reasons like the fact that you need an MDM solution, which is a very costly software, and not because the organization needs to support the ability for me to be able to use my phone to working purposes. No, actually, most of the cost with BYOD is connected to the fact that people are going around asking Joe, what is the Wi-Fi information? What is the username? What is the password?
I lost my app.
Most of those questions cost the organization money. So in order to support the point that we are making here today, we went out and we found a few numbers. So the first research we found about cost-effective and BYOD, we found a research by Forrester that actually rounds up the number of 1,000 BYOD devices equal the organization of cost, or cost the organization $170,000 per year. That's just 1,000 BYOD devices.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, you know, that's definitely a significant amount of money. But BYOD can also improve your productivity. I read an article by Cisco that states that productivity has risen by 53% amongst the research groups just because they used new and innovative BYOD methods.
That's very interesting, Joe. But you know, that does not come out without challenges.
Yeah, the first challenge is people dropping their iPads in the bath.
Joe.
You know.
Thank you, but I think the first thing that comes to mind when people are thinking about BYOD is actually security.
Security, yeah.
As an IT professional, most of your day, and in my past day, is invested in security, which means that people are configuring the firewalls. They are providing username, password, they are connecting the firewall. Who can come in, who can come out, what can you see, what you can't, who can log in from home, what you see. Exactly. We are invested as an IT in general so much in security. And then BYOD as a trend came and flexing the wall that we are so struggling to define and to protect, and then BYOD actually come and flex on those walls. And just, you know, me walking around with my iPhone are just going over the firewall without actually asking permission from anybody. I'm walking around with information that is saved on my actual device and walking through. Free agent in the universe, and that as a concept is very, very scary to any IT professional around the world. So security is definitely a challenge when we are talking to BYOD.
Yeah.
But I have another question for you, Joe.
Yeah.
BYOD, before it was introduced to the industry in the form we know it today, in regards and connected directly with iPhones and iPads and tablets in general, I could have brought my beloved AirBook to work and use it.
Yeah, you could.
And it would consider BYOD as I bought my beloved AirBook with my personal money. That's bring your own device. But if something went wrong with my computer, would you be able to help me?
Of course, I'm an IT guy.
Exactly. But what about Jenny?
Well, you know, I think I'm going to send her a bag of rice or a good hair dryer. I can help her.
Joe, that's not going to help.
No. I'm going to send her an overnight replacement.
I think that will be better. But you know what, Joe? You are not alone, because most of us as IT professionals, currently in our education, in training processes, BYOD or any kind of supporting of electronic device is not in our regular CV.
Yeah.
So most of us will not be able to help Jenny.
I understand. Well, let me ask you this. If BYOD is so hard to manage, why should we adjust to BYOD?
It's a good question, Joe. And to be honest, I don't think we have a choice. BYOD is already here. BYOD is already a working reality. If we just look at the numbers, we found out a research that currently by 2016, there would be an increasive rate of 105% growth in adoption rate of BYOD. And also there was a research about consuming information on our personal devices. So currently already in 2014, 53% of the information I'm currently consuming on my own device is for work purposes. So BYOD is already a working reality.
Definitely.
Joe?
It's Jenny.
Joe?
She's flooding my queue with BYOD related messages. Another one. What do I do?
What do you think you should do?
I don't know. I have a WhatsApp message from her.
You have to help me now. I am freaking out. I really need this problem fixed. Call me back as soon as you hear this message.
Yeah,
I think you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble. Well, I better go take care of that overnight replacement before I have more than my reputation to worry about. So bye for now, guys.
So let's summarize where we are at this point. BYOD is already here. The second fact that we already saw is that we have an SLA to keep. And whether we like it or not, BYOD is an issue that we are addressing. So even if we measure it as part of the SLA, in the perception of our end user and what we are giving back as a service, BYOD is already there. So whether we are connected it with the service or not, it's regardless and not an issue. So the first recommendation today is realize that BYOD is already here and it's currently raining on our parade. So the sooner we would start the conversation about BYOD, about the commitment, about the SLA, the better we can actually save our beloved SLA. So what do we need to do? Where we need to start? The first thing we need to start is having a list of questions, just as you can currently see on the actual screen. We sat down and we came up with a few recommendations with questions that will start dialogue between the business and you as operation. We are just providing an example, a based platform. You, as the expert on your organization, are actually the people that are best to write this question and get the dialogue started. So let's look at a few of the examples that are currently showing on screen. What is the level of support you will be providing? And that's an excellent question because currently you're providing support and there is no expectation connected with it. Are all employees eligible to connect with their mobile to the actual infrastructure? The fact that I have a mobile that automatically gives me the privileges of connecting to the Wi-Fi, the fact that Jenny had an iPad, does that automatically give her the ability to decide that she's going to take the sales presentation, save it on the iPad and go to New York with it? Not necessarily. Will we support all devices? Are Joe and his friends are actually supposed to be expert on all the devices out there? Not necessarily. Again, it's pending a discussion. It's pending organization decision. What level of support will you will provide? To what issues are you going to provide support? The fact that I have got a problem with my BYOD, with my beloved iPhone, automatically provides me the ability to go to Joe and ask him to help me? Is my kids currently have a problem with Plants vs. Zombies on my actual iPad? Does that automatically provide me the ability to go to Joe and have him help me? I'm sure you currently already say no, and I'm sure the answer should be no. But again, you should have an open conversation with your business, with your CTO or any other partner you currently have in the organization, and have a discussion, an open discussion on what is expected from you, on what issues is expected from you, on which devices. All the questions should be asked at this point in time, which is the beginning. All the answers take you to the next step. So with those questions, you should have reach a basic understanding, and the answer you are going to actually get provides you the platform where you start to need to build up the second stage, which is support policy. After you've got the answer, you go and you sit down and you choose a BYOD policy that better suit what currently been faced before you as the organization needs. In BYOD support policy, you've got 3 options. The first one, and before you start screaming, yes! BYOD support policy, the first one is bring your own support. All of you are currently sitting down and saying, yes, if you bought your own device, you fix what you broke. Meaning, bring your own support. So if you would take Jenny's example for just a minute, it means that if she currently broke her iPad beyond any recognition, whatever Joe is going to do is ask her, did you buy Apple Care? And if she did, be so kind to point her to the nearest store to where she's currently at New York. So bring your own device, bring your own support. Probably you're all saying yes. I will tell you what I think at the end, but basically, even if you decided that currently in this stage and time for your organization, this is the best solution currently ever that you can deal with, we in CISAID are all about the extra mile. So what we are currently recommending to you is, in our CISAID, you've got a knowledge base. Use that knowledge base to give your users the extra mile, which means, for example, if the most popular question that you've been asked regarding BYOD is, what is the Wi-Fi information? So around the knowledge base, enter the Wi-Fi information. So if they bought their own device, meaning they're currently intelligent enough to support their own device, look at the settings, incorporate the username and password in order for them to be able to connect to the Wi-Fi on their own. So again, if currently BYOD, bring also your own support is what is currently you decided as the business to provide. So again, provide them the ability to have common question and support to support themselves. This is basically knowledge base. The second option is social support. I know that currently a lot of people are very anxious around social support, which basically comes from the fact we are not currently very we are not very ensured that our end users are able to support themselves, and let's go through any statistic you would see around implementing of a knowledge base. What I'm saying to you, if I bought this iPhone, if I love my iPhone, I'm probably using my iPhone, which means that basically I can post a Facebook, a Twitter, and I can submit a ticket from my beloved iPhone. So social support just acknowledge the fact that I'm capable to posting any kind of question and to be able to get information and support my beloved device on my own. And that goes from, I think for people like me around the iPhone it's a little bit less, but in Android actually there is a lot of people that are really wizard when it comes to playing or tweaking their phones. So two things you need to embrace as an organization before you're implementing this kind of policy is the fact that your users are able to support themselves, and the second, that there is experts out there that are not part of Joe's team at all, but could maybe help Jenny, maybe found any community, help themselves in the past. So, and they would be able, if Jenny will address them and find a way to post her problem, they will be able to go back and tell her, listen, this is the link, this is the community, I don't know, throw it in a bag of rice, use your hairdryer, any kind of tips like that. So again, the extra mile, go out and look for any kind of free platform out there. There is a lot of them. There is a lot of software that are free out there that they would be able to support questions and answers. And some of them even come free of charge with embedded gamification that people can earn points and stars and rates and so on, so people would have a little bit of fun when they're supporting one another. So again, no extra cost to the organization. The only thing that is required from Joe and his team is actually going out, downloading the software, maybe playing with it a little bit, and installing it. Again, implement it to our end user, and voila, you have a free platform where people can actually engage about BYOD. And you would be amazed that people are actually out there, can help one another, and people are actually wizard when it comes to actually supporting their beloved devices. The third option of policy out there is limited support on categories and limited support on devices. So not to get ahead of myself, but I think that in most cases the organization between 1 to 5 years ahead from this point in time will get to this policy. This is why we invested a little bit more in the presentation today with explaining this policy. So currently what we think is that the questions got you to a situation where you as an organization currently need to support some kind of devices on some kind of issues because you've got salespeople on the field and walking around with an actual mobile device makes sense to them, and currently you're already incorporated those kinds of operation in your business processes and they are supporting business processes. Maybe that's just one example that already makes sense where you as an organization are already ahead of innovation in adopting already BYOD support. So if this is the way you've decided to go, so the first thing our recommendation is go into our CMDB, open all your mobile devices as CIs. In CSAID you have an MDM-free solution where you actually can go out and enable in all your mobile devices and they would be automatically as asset within CSAID and then they will be forwarded to the CMDB. If not, you can open them all as CMDB, have a dedicated form to them with all the categories. They can look different from each device, so Android can look different from an iPhone to a tablet and so on. Already incorporate all of them to the CMDB. The best implementation of CMDB is actually the business processes, so already incorporate them. I'm sure to already open business processes, so you would be able to see that if currently supporting my example, that salespeople are currently going out to the field using mobile devices, so incorporate all the mobile devices to an already open business process of sales. So the first thing will be actually the CMDB. Then if a good CMDB implementation translate to a chart. So when opening a service request, you would be able to actually see. So if Jenny would open a ticket to Joe, we would be able to see that currently the business process that is currently failing is the actual sales process. The second screen I would like to show you today is actually the incidents. You would be able to see that there is 3 levels of category. So at the first category, you would say mobile or BYOD. The second level category should support all the issues and all the devices that currently could be supported. So if Jenny would like to see if currently based on the BYOD policy, her mobile device and the issue that is currently having is supported, she will go to the incident form. She will check under the category that there is an actual device, that her actual device will show on the list, and she would be able to see that the problem she's currently having is also supported. And the last thing is, of course, the SLA. Everything started from the SLA. As part of the service desk, service is what we do on a daily basis. So SLA is to put measurement and to be able for us to improve the service we are providing. So again, incorporate the BYOD to your SLA, which incorporate the commitment that the organization wants you to support in regards to BYOD. Again, setting the expectations. So go to the SLA, provide to each category what are the expectations from you, and of course that will be translated automatically using CSAID SLA to every service request. You can incorporate timers and so on in order to keep, as any other SLA, to keep your people engaged with the SLA and the expectation that you need to provide. And the last thing is an MDM solution. Again, we started by stating that the first challenge about BYOD is the actual security. MDM is here to help you support the security of your organization. In some of the future presentations or CSAID webinars we are going to have, we are going to talk about MDM and what we think is a good MDM solution, because I'm just going to state MDM is dead. So if you want to join us in the next few weeks, we are going to talk about why CSAID thinks that the MDM is dead.
Yeah, I agree.
Joe, I didn't see you there.
Well, I just spoke to Jenny, and I had one of the guys send her an overnight replacement, and it's all good. Yeah.
How much did it cost us?
$1,600, not including Prozac that I added to the package. You know, she needed some coming down.
$1,600?
Yeah. $1,600, $1,000 for the shipment,
Okay.
and $600 for the new iPad. Yeah.
Okay, so Joe is actually stating the next thing that we need to talk about. It's the budget, of course. Yeah. Once you have decided what is expected from you, which is the discussion we had at the beginning, what policy suits your organization, then the budget should actually be the next step where you go back to the business and you state to them, based on what have decided that is expected for you to support, what is the budget in regards to resources that you require. Again, I would like to emphasize the fact that currently, even if you don't support, you think you don't support anything, currently BYOD is already costing you money. Definitely. So before you go to the business and state it, bring your own support and all of those things, please just make out the statistic how many times per day you help people to connect to the Wi-Fi. And that's already a resource from your time, and that actually costs money. So please be fair to yourself and put the right number, the right budget. Like Joe and myself, when we had the beginning discussion about how it's better that CSAID will deal with BYOD, he came up with the budget. So another recommendation from us is have a few options already ready, because we know as an IT team we are already and always understaffed and overloaded. So this is why it's key that you will stick to the actual correct number, so again your resources will not go to waste.
Yeah, definitely. So when we finish here, I'll give you an option with the Prozac and without the Prozac.
Thank you.
Are you okay with that?
Yes, thank you for that, Joe. So to summarize today's session, it was great to be here. I hope that our CSAID Academy team will ask me to do the webinar more oftenly, because I had fun.
I didn't see Michael here. Did you see him around? You know.
I'm better than Michael, and you would see that the people currently watching are going to say the same. So thank you for having me today. It was a pleasure, and anybody that would like to have any question about this presentation today, please tweet me at Sarah Lahav, and I will be happy to help you. So until next month, bye!
Bye! Thank you. It's been a pleasure.